Behind the Roar, the official podcast of West Tigers.
Well, hi there. Welcome to Behind the Roar, the official podcast of West Tigers, where we learn more about the people and the stories behind this great club. And I am delighted to say it's a bit of a special milestone this week because this is actually our 50th episode of Behind the Roar. And also, for the very first time, it is great to have a live studio audience to celebrate our little milestone. Round of applause. Yeah, why not? Why not, ladies and gentlemen? I think it's great too. It seems like only yesterday we decided to launch Behind the Roar, and it really has sort of got a good following now. So again, thanks to all of our listeners, viewers, and subscribers, and of course, thanks very much to our hardworking team here as well at the Behind the Roar studio. That's you, Tommy, and me. And me. Alrighty. Behind the Roar is, of course, proudly brought to you by PWA, that is Pro Wrestling Australia. And thanks very much for those guys for jumping on board this year. Now, this week's guest, he played 219 NRL games, all for the Cowboys. It was over 11 seasons. And he is the coach of our West Magpies New South Wales Cup team. Very warm welcome to Aaron Payne. How are you, mate?
I'm excellent, mate. Thanks a lot for having me. I feel honoured to be here on such a special episode.
Absolutely. See, we thought we'll save the big guns, right?
Yeah,
Bring you in on a milestone. Now, you arrived here at the club in pre-season. How have you adjusted, and what's been the most difficult thing, I guess, for you moving from Townsville to the Big Smoke?
Yeah, I think initially the hardest part was being away from the family, even though it was sort of only for 3 or 4 months. It did feel like a long time. So that was a hard transition. Obviously, once they arrived after Christmas, it was life was a lot more normal. I guess it's been fantastic in a lot of ways, and from a coaching perspective, it's certainly opened my eyes and I guess looked at a different way of doing stuff, which is good for my personal development as a coach. So I've really enjoyed it. Benji's created a fantastic environment where people want to be at work, and there's no eggshells, and everyone's really enjoying themselves. And I think the team we've got, we complement each other, and certainly a lot of respect amongst the group.
I mean, there's a heap of experience there in that coaching crew, and add to that your own experience. Hey, no shortage of dummy half expertise amongst you lot either.
Yeah, we've got a few nines as well. So
well, exactly. Forget Bomber. I mean, he played a few different, but you and Robbie, specialist dummy halves, hookers, butted heads in the 05 grand final too, didn't you? From memory, I reckon you.
We did play against each other. I wouldn't say we butted heads. I know it's a figure of speech, but
no, we when you packed down.
Yeah, no. Look, we had a lot of respect for each other.
Yeah,
we played a lot of games against each other, obviously, and two nines that I guess were at the top of the tree within their own club. So we got an opportunity to play a lot of footy against each other, and I know from the better hookers when I was playing, your Cam Smiths and Robbie Farahs. As a hooker myself, you would look at their games and what made them special, and try and learn things from them. I'm not sure if it was reciprocal, but I certainly looked at those guys and studied their games.
Yeah. Oh, mate, look, you were some player, so don't understate how good an NRL player you were, and no one lasts a decade in the game like you did if you aren't pretty bloody special. So that was then. It was 20 odd years ago, 22 years ago now. We'll reflect on your career and your junior footy as well. I also want to pick your brain about number nines, and Robbie has recently said that in his opinion, Api is the best number 9 going around, and there are some very good number 9s in the game.
Yep.
New South Wales Origin selection, so there's a few in the frame, if you like. So I'll have a chat to you about some of those options as well. We'll have a little bit of fun along the way.
Yep.
All right. We'll kick off with an opening set of 6, so we get to know a bit more about you, chew the fat in the middle, because I want to know also about your role as New South Wales Cup coach, because I imagine it's quite challenging for various reasons. Chiefly because I guess you don't always or often have the same team from week to week, and you're preparing a team that you need to that players that want to be handed over to Benji in the NRL.
Yep.
But at the same time, you want to win games, right? So it's a tricky one. So
Yeah.
we'll chat about that. At back end of the show, we've got a thing called turnbuckle time. Are you okay with the quizzes? You know?
I'm not good at them, but I'm okay with them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
We'll see how we go.
See how we go.
What,
right?
What's the score I got to beat?
Well, max score is 25. We've got one of our previous guests. We think he scored 25, but it's going to go. It could be an appeal on that. It was
Okay.
Joel Kane.
Right.
I think there is going to be an appeal.
Okay.
Okay, but let's see how you go. Don't stress too much
Yep.
about it. Okay. And that's pretty much how she works, right?
Sounds good.
All good? You ready to rock and roll?
Ready to rock and roll.
Righto. Well, let's launch into the opening set of 6 then, shall we? Now, this, Aaron Payne, it is your NRL debut. So it's back in 2002. It's round 12 against the Dragons, and you're playing at what was called then, as you know, Dairy Farmers Stadium. It's the 1st of June. It's a Saturday. Matt Checkin is the referee. Matty Bowen is your fullback. Who else we got? Paul Bowman is your skipper. And your coach is the late Graham Murray. Okay. All right. There is the whistle. Did you hear that? Away we go then. Question 1, first tackle. So 22 years ago, do you remember much about your NRL debut?
I do. It was. I felt like I was an energizer bunny, just going here, there, and everywhere. I only got on with the last. I think the game was in control. We were comfortably going to win it. I only got on in the last 10 minutes. It wasn't even that. It might have been 7 or 8 minutes.
How old were you?
I was 19. Pretty sure if I do the maths, it was 19. So yeah, being a kid from up there, it was pretty special. It was a home game, obviously, as you said. But all I can remember is I was just running around like a headless chook, trying to be involved with everything. And I remember how quick the game was because that was obviously the last 7 minutes, as I said, where the speed's out of the game. But I do remember something after the game, which obviously I was on next to nothing money-wise. It wasn't even full-time. And I remember getting my first match payment because back then it was just all match payment. There was no salary stuff. And I thought to myself, wow, how good's this?
Well, was it a gorilla?
No, it was a lot
more?
more than that.
Oh,
I think
5G.
it was something like that. It was about $5,000. I remember thinking it might have only been 5 minutes I played. And I'm thinking, how good's this?
Grand a minute.
$1,000 a minute. This is pretty good. I might do this for a living.
Yeah, nice. I like it. Do you remember waking up that morning and the feeling of, I don't know, nerves, dread, excitement?
Yeah, I can't remember that specifically. I do remember how proud I was, and how much support I had. Obviously all my family and friends are in North Queensland, so it was pretty special. I had people coming from here, there, and everywhere. Yeah, I remember sitting on the bench thinking, my whole thought process at the time was, being a young kid was like, don't stuff up. When you get on there, don't stuff up.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
But I was quite comfortable going on when I did. Like I said, the game was in control and
Yeah.
Muzz looked after me for my first game.
Yeah. Your junior footy then. So you grew up in Townsville or surrounding suburbs? Tell us about your junior pathway.
Yeah, I grew up in Aikenvale. It's a bit of a rough suburb
How
now.
far from Townsville? Then?
So it's sort of like in the middle of Townsville, bit of a working class sort of suburb. So grew up there and then pretty much spent I didn't start playing until I was 10. Mum wouldn't let me. Sort of said I was a bit worried. I was a bit small and didn't know if it was for me. So I played a bit of soccer. I played a lot of sports. Played basketball. Did some surf lifesaving.
Yeah.
Did everything I could, which a lot of those peripheral vision games really helped me later in life, which was good. And then basically played for the local club, Centrals. It was just a couple of blocks away, and progressed from there. I was never sort of the best. I was a bit of a late bloomer, and through those teenage years, I was very small, and I was sort of trying to play catch up with everyone, and make some rep teams, but not really that high. And then it wasn't until I really started maturing, I started catching up to everyone with my strength and my size. Not that I was ever big, but that's when I started actually developing a bit of confidence. I'm going all right, So at the time, Grant Bell did a bit of coaching with me. He was a former Cowboys coach.
Yeah.
He was then a school teacher, coached a lot of our school footy, as well as at Central's local A grade. So he instilled a lot of confidence in me, which was good. He was really good for me in those early years, and progress from there.
Yeah, right. There's a lesson there too for any, like 14, 15, 16-year-olds that might be a little bit late blooming or maturing and maybe reaching puberty a bit later than some of their teammates who have, Yeah. It's interesting. So there's a message there. Don't give up because
Yeah.
stick with it. And also that peripheral vision thing you just spoke about there. As a hooker, it's a must, isn't it? Because it's so important these days that you sort of are playing upstream, right?
Yeah, it wasn't just peripheral vision. You're right. It
Mm.
was that, but there was because it was a 360 degrees, a lot of spatial awareness as well, which helped, and just hand-eye coordination of different types. So yeah, there was a lot of things that I contributed when you reflect on your career that certainly helped me with my football before I even started playing footy. A lot of different sports. Um, yeah, and I agree with 100% with what you said around sort of being a late bloomer, and I think that sort of that I think also gave me a lot of resilience because I had to work hard to pursue my career. I was not that kid that was first picked all the time, and by the end of my career, I was. But that initial, setbacks and not making rep teams and resilience that I had to endure, I think certainly helped me with my footy later in life as well.
Yeah, it's a really good lesson, Like I'm getting off track here a bit. I coach a 16s team, and we got put down from gold division to silver. Right, we probably just couldn't compete regularly with the first grade teams.
Yep.
Getting beaten by 30 points or 20. So we moved down to silver division, right? And I know that there's kids in this team that if they stick with it, they could easily go on and make rep teams down the track.
Yep.
So yeah, it's an important point that you say there. Just be patient with it. Getting back to our set of six. So you retired at the end of 2012, and I think your last game was a finals match against Brisbane Broncos, right?
Yep.
Did you know going into that match that that would be your last game, and when did you start giving a thought to getting into coaching?
So to answer your question about the last game of footy, you're right. It was a finals game against Brisbane at home, and we went on to win that game. I unfortunately had to limp off the field. I hurt my knee. I had a clash with Corey Parker, just a knee clash, and yeah, it wasn't anything major, but it was. I needed to have an arthroscope, so to clean up my cartilage, and unfortunately, obviously, we went on next week. I didn't play. I was a couple of weeks out. I sort of come to the point if we'd had made the grand final, I thought I'd be right for that. But we obviously didn't get that far. We lost the following week. I think it was to Manly. That was one of the times that got the raw end of the deal. They've called it the famous hand touch from Foreign.
Yes.
If you remember it, or people at home probably do. So yeah, we exited. So it was sort of a sad way, I guess, to finish. I'd announced my retirement 6 weeks before that, so I was going to retire at the end of the year. And a lot of people, when I talk to people, say, "Oh, Payne, you retired pretty early. Like, why was that?" And I'd lost the desire to improve. I'd lost that desire to make those sacrifices that you need to. And I knew that I wasn't giving my all to the team that I loved. And I was very conscious I didn't want to be one of those blokes that played too many seasons. So I was very young. I was 29, and in hindsight, I probably could have played a lot more. But I probably just wasn't enjoying my footy as much as what I wanted to, and that led me into coaching. Peter Parr at the time was keen to keep me involved with the club, so I started out with some grassroots. They offered me a really good job doing some grassroots footy, so I thought, well, at least I'll get to stay involved with the club that I love, and enjoyed that. That progressed to our academies, so Cowboys academies. It was sort of like the junior, sort of elite juniors in their pathway. From that to NYC coaching, did 2 years there, really enjoyed that, and then from that to Townsville Blackhawks in the Queensland Cup. So it's sort of progressed well, and I've sort of never really had to leave home through my playing career or my coaching career, which has been fantastic. But obviously, coaching industry, Townsville, there's limited opportunities, and my contract was up there. So it was an opportunity for me to branch out, and a little bit like my footy, I'd got to a point where I was probably a little bit stale and looking for a change. And then Benji rang me and said, there's an opportunity here. Would you be interested? And I said, yeah, I am. I certainly am interested, and just to see how other people operated, and I guess when you only know something, you only know something, and it was a chance to broaden my horizons as a coach, and I've really enjoyed being down here.
Well, you just knocked off tackle 4 and tackle 5 there, because I
Sorry,
was
mate.
going to talk about your coaching through Townsville.
Might be an early knock for the 50th.
No. And then I was going to say, okay, and how did it come about coming here? So Benji reached out and gave you the call. Check-in's got his arm in the air, final tackle. Okay, so away from footy, Aaron, what else do you get up to? I know you're into horses. How did that all come about?
Yeah, Dad's always had a love of horses and always had some. We as I said before, we lived in Aikenvale. That was in suburbs, so we had to adjust some horses that we'd care for and ride and everything.
Oh, geez,
sort
that's
of-
fancy for breaking in, right?
No, just so just land. So just had to basically park our horses at somebody else's place because we didn't have the land to.
Stable.
Yeah. So so we had some horses, and Dad was obviously always had a love of horses, and sort of got me into it. Started out just just for, I guess, pleasure, like trail riding and stuff, and as I was involved with footy, I had a lot of spare time. I would play a lot of golf, as most
Yeah,
rugby
yeah.
league players do. My other
Well, you should get
passion.
into sales. You get into a sales job here. They play golf too.
Yeah, well, sales. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
The problem was I wasn't real good at golf, but I also enjoyed fishing. I love fishing. And if
Yes.
you remember Ben Harris, played for the Cowboys, was also at the Bulldogs Centre, champion bloke,
yeah.
Benny Harris, and he was buying a boat as well. So we decided to pool our money and get a better one.
Just
So
mooring off Magnetic Island.
yeah, well, it was once footy finished, we had to move it on, but it was basically if the weather was good on our day off, we were out the reef fishing.
How
If
far
the,
out?
A long way. The reef's sort of 100k, which is about 50 nautical miles. So it take a couple of
Off the
hours.
shelf.
No, that's just the reef there. The further north you go, the closer it gets. So yeah, but so
What are we
we'd
fishing
spend
for?
the day. Oh, just all the good stuff, mate. Coral
Mahi
trout.
mahi.
No. The good stuff I said.
Oh.
Coral trout,
Yeah.
red emperor,
Yeah.
nanagai, sweet
Now,
lip,
are we just
Spanish mackerel.
Are we just eating them or are we selling them?
No, we're just eating them. Yeah, no, it was just for fun.
Just for fun.
We had a lot of friends and they'd all come and take a fish.
I was going to say, were your
So-
teammates putting in
yeah,
orders?
yeah, they were putting in orders too. So, so that was another enjoyable thing. And then, sorry, we've sort of got sidetracked here. And then
Oh,
the
no, sorry,
horses.
me. I often do.
So, I got into some ownership with horses, race horses.
From
And-
seahorses to racehorses, right?
Yeah. And I loved it. I enjoyed it. I only had small shares, but I sort of got to know the trainer quite well, Matty Connor, up in Townsville, and he knew that I liked horses, and I said, mate, I'd love to learn more. It's something I'm interested in. So I ended up getting my strapper's license, and he sort of started teaching me stuff, and I did stuff with him, and then. I actually took out my own trainer's license. I've still got it. I don't actively use it, but I've just
Wouldn't have
kept
time, would you?
No, I don't. But and living in Sydney, obviously, but it's something I want to keep forever. If I ever want to go back there, I can. So sort of, I got my own horse. Sort of bought. Trying to think of his name.
Should we give Chrissy Waller a call and we'll see if we can get you a start
Chrissy-
out there at,
Well,
at Warwick Farm?
Well, when I was actually learning the ropes, and a lot of it was self-taught, and a lot of it was trial and error. But I actually, through my uncle, who's good mates with John O'Shea, I came down to Sydney and did a week with Johnny, champion bloke, good Queenslander from Ariba, and spent a week
There
with
is
him and
such a thing, but yeah,
rubbing shoulders with the rest of the crew at Randwick there, Gay Waterhouse, and the good old Bart Cummings and everyone. So that was a
Oh,
fantastic
look at you.
week.
I mean, you fit right into the sport of kings, don't you?
Yeah, probably not.
Eh?
As I said,
But
a
it's
lot
a-
was self-taught, mate.
Yeah, it's a great pastime. It can be expensive though.
Yeah.
Do you are you disciplined? Do you like a flutter? Is my point.
Oh, I was having a punt, but I've certainly pulled that right back now. I don't punt much at all. Occasionally, if I do like something, but the love of the racehorse is always still there, and certainly from that training perspective, one day when I'm sort of starting to slow down a little bit and footy takes a backward seat, I'd like to get back into it. There was about a couple of months crossover before I finished up Blackhawks. Before I took this job, I went and worked with leading stable in Townsville, Georgie and Aidan Holt, champion people, and went and worked with them. That was enjoyable.
Mucking out the stables.
Yeah, it was early starts, 2 a.m.
Wow, no,
but yeah.
no, not for me.
No, you certainly got to enjoy it, and it was fantastic working for them with a couple of months, and really enjoyed it.
Well, I mean, this could be a thoroughbred podcast. It's not, but there you are. I told you he liked his horses. Right, let's talk some footy, Let's talk some footy. Now, your New South Wales Cup team, as I said earlier, it is a challenging role being coach of the reserve grade team because you're trying to prepare players for first grade, but that team also wants to have some consistency and stability and win matches as well.
Yep.
How are you handling? How do you handle that? And I mean, how do you keep up positive vibe in the team, and despite what the results might be?
Yeah, you're spot on. I think it is one of the hardest coaching roles there is, but um, there's uh, it's a fine line between you want and need success. You need the blokes below the NRL blokes pushing for
Mm,
spots. Having that competitive
absolutely.
rivalry so that they're pushing for spots. So whilst it is about their development, it is also about winning, and that's where it gets hard because, like you said,
Mm.
it's challenging at times. We get limited time as a group to prepare, but I think the reassuring thing is that most of the other sides are in the same boat. So yeah, we're very young at the moment. We've lost a couple of games that we probably should have won, and if we had a little bit more experience in the side, we probably would have. But that's the learning curve for them, and hopefully we keep improving. And if these kids keep developing and pushing for first grade spots, then I'd like to hope I'm doing my job.
Pro Wrestling Australia is back in the heart of the Sydney CBD. Live June 14th at the Metro Theatre with the return of the King of the Metro 30-person Rumble match. Get your tickets now at Ticketek.
Before we talk any more footy to us, I think we do a bit of a wrap of the latest issues and club news as well. So a few changes for Benji and the team this week. Api Koroisau is back after missing last week's match against the Bulldogs. We know that Aiden Caesar, Salad, he's gone for 4 games for that hip drop. In my opinion, a bit harsh, but we've got to live with that. Bud Sullivan, been with you for the past 3 weeks, so he comes back in at 7. Stafford Toa's back in the centre, so Nato shifts out to the wing. Great to have Starry back, and he came back with you.
Yep.
Excuse me, last week. Isaiah Papali'i, so he moves to the middle, and Johnny Bateman moves back on to the edge. So we are in Tamworth against Newcastle Knights, and that match is Saturday, round 10, 3 p.m. kickoff. Now, the Knights, they're 2 points outside the top 8. They've won 4 and lost 5. They're coming off a pretty gritty win against the Warriors last weekend. That was in wet conditions. Just back on that loss too, for us to the Bulldogs. The result aside for a moment, I know the game sort of flared up at the end, didn't it? And people were getting frustrated. Players appeared frustrated at times as well by some of the decisions from the referee. Can I just say that some of the comments, though, and the commentary and around social media directed at referee Casey Badger, I just think it's been, some of it, absolutely despicable. I think you can have your opinions by all means. You can have your response and express your views, but I just think people need to have a bit of class about how they do it. And some of the comments, honestly, they were just vile. And maybe some of these keyboard warriors don't have the intellect or the decency to express themselves in a rational way. So if you are like that, do us all a favour. I mean, get out. I mean, the game, I think, would be better off without you. I've had my say on that. I've got nothing against freedom of speech, but just do it.
Well said, mate.
Do it in a tasteful way. Yeah. Back on club. So your boys, West Magpies, are at Lidcombe on Sunday, 2 o'clock?
2 o'clock.
Against the Knights as well.
Yep.
Jersey Flag are playing before you,
Before us.
I think, midday?
Yep.
So get out there if you can on Sunday. Get right behind the Flag boys who've had some good results. They lost last week. Now, I know NRL, they have lost 5 in a row now. You guys are 4 or 5 in a row as well.
Mm-hmm.
My point again is you and Benji. What's the key messaging to keep your boys up and keep them believing in themselves?
Yeah, I know it can be easy to lose confidence in what you're doing, but I think the key messages are around working hard, mate. I'm not a big fan of sayings or mottos, but one thing that always resonates with me is around the harder you work, the luckier you get. So yeah, it's about improving individually and improving collectively as a group, and we need to keep working hard.
So Bud goes to NRL, so you'll have another halves pairing,
Yep.
another different halves pairing.
Yep.
You've brought
Declan.
Declan into the halves.
Yeah,
Has he
look,
played
it's-
much halves?
No, he hasn't played a lot of halves.
Played six?
He's quite skillful. He's a student of the game. He's one of the smartest blokes I've coached
Yep.
as far as his preparation for games and understanding footy and knowing what's happening with oppositions. So for that reason, I wanted to give him a crack there. I guess it's probably been a little bit of our Achilles heel this year. With those key positions in particular, you add in fullback as well. The only one we probably have a little bit of.
We'll have a new fullback this week because Star was
new
playing fullback.
Yep. So Curtis Wilson has been playing really good for Ron Massey Cup. So we've got a really strong,
Right, Eastwood.
really strong affiliation with those guys, and they fully understand that if they're playing well, they're in line for selection to play for West, and
Great.
vice versa. If our blokes to create that accountability, they need to be playing well to hold their spot. Although we'll go back and play for Right Eastwood. So I'm excited by Curtis. He comes. I've seen a couple of his games. He comes with great raps, and it's an opportunity for him at this level. But yeah, going back to what you were saying, probably our Achilles heel has been not having that continuity, particularly in our fullback and our halves. So I'm really waiting for some blokes to put their hands up, and we can get that continuity.
Well, there it is, and again, it's our pathways, but also partnerships, isn't it, with
Yep.
Right Eastwood? And some of our viewers and listeners might know that we do have that affiliation with them. So there you go. Now, also, congrats to the boys that have been selected to play in our Cubs, the under-18s match. So they're going to be playing in Newcastle under-18s development side. That'll be the curtain raiser at Scully Park, Tamworth on Saturday. To all those guys, they're coming from West Magpies Harold Matthews Cup, Balmain Tigers Harold Matthews Cup as well. So it's not just about playing the curtain raiser. They're in Tamworth for a few days on a development tour. We've been doing this for a few years now. And I know Shannon Gallant's done a really good job. Bronson Harrison as well with our pathways. So it's about the transition process through the rep grades, but in between those years as well. Hey, also still on the club news, a huge congratulations to Kezi Apps and Sarah Togatuki, who have been named to play for New South Wales in Game 1 of the Ampol Women's State of Origin. That kicks off next Thursday at Suncorp Stadium. 3-match series for the very first time. So well done to Kez and to Sulla as well. Talking from the New South Wales point of view, it was only a 2-match series last year. It was one apiece, but you dirty Queenslanders got the trophy, got the shield on for and against, I think it was.
For the question.
We might as well toss a coin. Who wants it? Anyway, so it's 3 games now. Well done, girls. Go you Blues. All right, mate, but back to just footy and your job. I know also not just the transitioning and players coming and going, but you've got a very young New South Wales Cup team, and I think that's been a bit of a shift in the way of we're thinking as a club.
Yep.
Well, by that I mean we've got a lot of young guys in there that could be eligible to play SG ball.
Yep.
Quite a few of them who are in our top 30, right? The likes of Talons,
Yep.
Geordie Miller, Heath Mason, and quite a few others as well. Yep. So do other clubs do that same sort of thing, or?
Yeah, I think they do. I think probably the difference between some clubs that I've noticed and ourselves is we've got.
I guess it's about fast tracking these guys. Right?
It is. It's fast tracking, our elite juniors, and it's. I guess other clubs have probably had a luxury of having a little bit more experience blended in with their youth, which helps them develop. Creates some accountability, and those older blokes in key moments can give them that leadership, and they've been in those situations. They know how to best handle them through process and time. So hopefully our younger kids are learning this all the time. So a little bit more experience would helping them, but look, as long as they're learning, progressing, that's what we're about.
So it's about obviously fast tracking these younger elite juniors, junior/senior players, right? But then you've also got senior players, okay, that for whatever reason might not make Benji's team for this week or next week, and so they come back to reserve grade, New South Wales Cup, and they've got a ton of experience. They might even be 100, 200 gamer. So you've got a very different pool of experience and people and characters that you've got to relate to and with.
Yeah, got to make sure, I guess, a chat normally sees where their head's at. As when I say where their head's at, you know, how they're
Are they kicking stones?
Are they kicking stones? Are they disappointed about being back there? Are they looking forward to the weekend? And
Just
you
going to
generally
bite down
pick
hard
up,
and
yeah, you can generally pick up where they're at, what
Mm.
I guess emotionally where they're at, and then you know, training will normally tell. Normally, it's only a captain's run, but you'll normally tell how invested they are. You know, if they're getting into it and leading by example and you know, communicating well, generally they're there, ready to play. You know, and Bud Sullivan's been a you know good example of someone who came back with the right attitude. He didn't dip his toe in. He put his whole foot in. He was really good. Obviously, you know, deserves his spot back there. He's been one of our best players.
Yeah.
And certainly his experience and leadership's been fantastic for us. You know, showing young kids, you know, the
great.
ropes. So he's been fantastic while he's been back for us, and he certainly earned his spot back in first grade.
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, and like you said, sometimes you know those blokes are back there, but you know you can always put a positive spin on it. You know, around that they're under you know limited pressure, as opposed to when they're playing NRL, it's an opportunity for them to work on their game, and certainly improve areas of their game in that low pressure environment. So yeah. There's different ways to skin a cat, and it's important to know where their headspace is at.
In terms of, I spoke about the Kezie and Sulla making women's origin, and Robbie, I said earlier, you know, he Api hands down as the number one hooker he thinks in the game, and I agree with him.
Yep.
Maybe a little bit biased, but there are a few in that frame for New South Wales origin selection. I'll throw a few at you. The likes of, with your North Queensland hat on, Reece Robson. He's a really talented, hard nut hooker. Others in the frame, Damien Cook, who's been there and probably played about a dozen. Last year when Api broke his jaw, Reece came in, didn't he?
Yep.
And Damien Cook. Wade Egan,
Yep.
Warriors, his name's been bandied about, and Mitch Kenny too.
Yep.
At the Panthers. I don't think there's any others really outside those sort of
Yeah,
five.
I think Api's certainly got the edge over Robbo. And when I say that, you know, when you think about
Different styles of
different
number
styles of players, so Api's got that real deception, that touch, the class, particularly with ball in hand.
Yeah.
Whereas Robbo's more of a defensive centre, and I think there's room depending on which way they go with that. Their you know reserves. I think there's room for both of them, because if it was me, I'd be starting Robbo. He's a really good defensive you know hooker. And as soon as the game lost the speed and whatnot, that's when I'd be bringing Api in. And Robbo can play 13 as well if need be. So that's what I would personally be doing. You know, Mitch Kenny's much the same, a very defensive orientated hooker. Egan's probably more of an Api with his touch, but certainly that would be the way I'd be going. But you guys have always got those problems. You've got a lot of good players to choose from. You're spoilt with choice, and you still come up with the wrong options, mate.
Yeah, right.
Not like us tough Queenslanders, mate.
Now, you guys used to be humble before you won 10 in a row or whatever it was.
We're still humble, mate.
Yeah.
We'll be the underdogs again this year too, because we've got a lot of injuries at the moment to key Queenslanders.
You are underdogs, I think.
Which is going to give
believe that?
Going to give some Queenslanders an opportunity that haven't had an opportunity this year.
Yeah, right. And of course, you didn't get to play Origin, right?
Yep.
You had a bloke called Cameron Smith in front of you for about a decade.
Yeah, the most resilient bloke I've ever met. Unbelievable. Just didn't get injured and had you know career best form every week. You know, week in,
you
week
would have been
out.
knocking on the door at some point.
Yeah, there was a point there for a couple of years where I was second in line, but never really got the opportunity. And Cameron Smith's an 80-minute player as well, so there was no need to have a hooker on the bench. So yeah, I mean, would have loved to have. But also, you know, when you get asked the question, why didn't you play Queensland? Well, it's a pretty
fair excuse.
Pretty fair excuse, yeah.
Yeah. And talk about the junior footy in that, and even Cameron Smith. And I read or I heard him, I think I heard him saying it, maybe on a podcast or a radio interview. I think it was on SEN. Do you know he could never pass left to right spiral? You know, a lot of dummy halves. You've got to be, particularly NRL level, you've got to be effective both ways with good spiral direct passes. Like my young bloke's a hooker and he's left to right. He's still not that flash. But Cameron said he couldn't do it.
Yeah, so Cameron Smith was another one that was a bit of a late bloomer. Wasn't until his later teenage years when he really started to excel. He was always on their radar, but he was never the best player either. So, and Cameron Smith really built his game as well. He was a bloke that constantly would add things to his game. And in the end, it was his ability as a leader.
Guile, leadership.
Yep. But he added a kicking game to his repertoire.
Yep.
He went from, just a passer off the ground to someone that could engage markers. So he was good for a lot of reasons. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, mate, let's can we rock into the favourite five, all right? Favourite five, and then we're gonna jump off the top rope for turnbuckle time, okay? Is that
Sounds good.
All right. How's our live audience? Are they going all right? How are they doing out there? Very, very quiet.
How many do you reckon there is here?
I reckon there's a good 30 or 40. Not quite as loud as the Sunday Night with Matty John's crew. Come on, liven up.
We must be putting them to sleep. Come on.
Hey, all right. Can we get a few drinks for the gentleman in the back row? Get him some drinks there. Righto, let's go into your favourite five. We'll rattle through this because I know you've got places to be, people to see. Greatest moment in your career?
Greatest moment was probably, I got probably two, if I'm allowed to have two. One was obviously an NRL grand final against the Mighty Tigers, which we went on to obviously lose. But on reflection throughout my career, it was something I was very proud of, making that NRL grand final. And the second one was the first time we ever beat the Broncos. It was a semi-final. Wayne Bennett chose to take it to Townsville. I've got no idea why the man did, but he did. And that night was a special night. It was at the old Dairy Farmers Stadium that you were talking about. And and that night was unbelievable. I remember.
That was the first win against Big Brother.
First time ever. And it was in a semi-final, knockout semi-final.
And you could many tight matches, 1.2 points in that time.
Always tight, getting towards we won that first one. And there was Wayne Bennett famously put Gordon Tallis back on the bench. Gordy had a bit of a blow-up about that, wasn't real happy. I think Shane Webke might have even played with a broken arm. But anyway, that's getting off a little bit off topic. What I was going with it was when you're at dairy farmers, they'd always leave a few patches of grass for people to exit and walk out. Well, there was no exits of grass. Even between like rugs on the hill, you couldn't see any grass. There was people on top of people, and it felt like there was 100,000 there that night. The atmosphere was something I'll never ever forget for the rest of my life, and it gives me goosebumps talking about it. Look, so
were the boys doing their push-ups in goal?
They were, but it was a real tight game. It was only I think it was 10-6 or 10-4 or something like that. David Miles scored the only try. The others were penalty goals. So yeah, they didn't have to do too many push-ups.
Greatest disappointment, would it be the 05 grand final loss to the mighty West Tigers?
Yeah, probably that. Yeah, that would be the biggest, I guess, disappointment. I had a pretty good run with injuries. Generally, people would say injuries and stuff too. I had a lot of small injuries, but for those 11 years or 10 years or whatever it was,
majors.
No majors other than a pec that kept me out for half a year. Other than that, a lot of stuff done to my knees, but they were only ever 1 or 2 weeks. So I guess that probably would be the worst point of my career was sitting at Accor Stadium now, crying myself silly.
Yeah, well, there can only be one winner. Yeah.
But the positive was, if we had won that, I
Have you
probably
seen the
wouldn't have
trophy
this
down in
job
the
right
foyer?
now.
No.
No, I must have missed it. Where was it? I'll
It's
have
in
a
the
look
foyer,
Okay.
at the Zurich Centre here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's always a
Why don't you
positive,
just-
mate.
why
I
don't
wouldn't
you-
have had this job. I
you
wouldn't have
should
been here
polish that
sitting
trophy
having
every
a conversation with you, mate, if we had a won. I would have been off the list. Put an X. He's
You
not
reckon?
coming to the Tigers.
No. But I think you should, every time you arrive at work here, just bend down and just give that little polish.
Okay, I'll
The
have a
trophy.
Look. Yeah, you'll have to show me where it is.
Okay, it's in the foyer.
Okay.
The greatest ever game as a player, I'll bet you. Was there a game that just, everything really clicked for you?
Yeah, probably. I know there was a game that always sticks in my memory. One we played Manly at Brookie. It was a game where the lead changed every 10 minutes. It changed. Someone else was in front, and someone else was in front, and they scored literally so we were in front. They scored with I think it was like a minute to go, not long at all. It might even been a couple more than a couple of minutes, and they thought they'd won, so they were celebrating, and they were into us the whole game.
Yeah,
like the Brookie crowd was
doesn't
just
sound like a
into
Brookie
us.
crowd.
Yeah. And so anyway, we've done the short dropout with seconds on the clock.
They've already started playing Eagle Rock. Almost.
Yeah, they have. Yep. Bat back. We get the ball. 2 tackles later, I put which was risky. 10 seconds to go, whatever it was, I put a grubber in for Ty Williams. He's indicating like this for me, going, "Oh, I don't know, Ty, but all right."
You
So
can
I put
see
a grubber in.
peripheral vision.
Yeah, peripheral vision. And Ty's got it down in the corner. And I've never heard a crowd go from so
Wow.
loud to so quiet so quick. So that was a good one.
Matt Brookie, yeah.
Yeah, look, there's a couple other games where I thought I played well, but
Yeah, that sounds
it was
good.
always special winning at home too.
Yeah. Righto. Most talented player you have played with? I think I know that one. And against?
Yeah, talented. Obviously, there's two, JT and Matty Bowen, but I think Matty Bowen definitely, because whilst JT was a genius, Matty Bowen could
In terms of raw
change a
talent.
game. He could change a game, and we always knew, we sort of had this commitment as a group that no matter what situation we're in, as long as we didn't let the lead get too far away from us, we knew we were always in a game of footy. There's that many times like we'd lose, we'd be 10 down with 10 to go, but we always knew that we had a secret weapon, and if we never let it get to 20 points or something like that was unattainable, we always knew we could win a game of footy. And more often than not, Matty Bowen would come up with the play at the right time, because he was unbelievable. I remember playing my juniors against him, and it was Kerwin High at the time, right? And we had 10 state representatives in our team. He played for Abergarie College. One bloke. He had his cousin Brenton Bowen, who was pretty handy too. But other than him, Palmer Wapow went all right. But other than that, they had no one. And he single-handedly beat our basically Queensland team.
Apart.
We had Michael Luck in it. We had, I could just keep rattling off the names of first graders, that went on to play first grade. And we never even made it to the next stage because of Matty Bowen.
Special player. One of the all-time greats. And against then, okay, most talented you've played against?
Against? Probably Darren Lockyer.
Yeah.
He was pretty good.
Fair names there, you've just thrown it.
Yeah, Darren Lockyer was pretty special. As far as hookers go, obviously Cameron Smith, Robbie Farah. I used to enjoy playing against Danny Badiris. He was a real gentleman. Played tough but played fair. Yeah, but probably Darren Lockyer.
Finally, and you've already probably asked this, but we've got some wonderful fullbacks in the game today, and that position in the last 10 years has really evolved, and it's almost your blue chip position now, isn't it? The fullback, and they're commanding the big bucks.
Yeah.
But Matty Bowen would have to be, one of the all-time greats to have number one on his back.
Yeah, I think he's different to Tedesco. Tedesco's everywhere, and different. I guess fullbacks have different things that make them good. His thing was he could create something out of nothing.
Yeah.
And the game was never over until what the fat lady sang. So,
well, you look at these great fullbacks in the modern era, and you've got your Billy Slater, and he could pretty much create something out of nothing. You've got you got a turbo Tommy Trebojevic, and he's a different style of player than a James Tedesco. You got younger players like a Jareem Buller coming through, and then your Kalen Pongas, and they're all a little bit different.
Yeah, they are. I think the common theme there is they need to be really good with their defensive line management. They need to be super fit. And they need to be able to, have a touch of ball playing about them as well. So, I think, the fullbacks you've just rattled off, they're all pretty handy players, all right.
Mr. Bloke called Reece Walsh as well. He goes all right.
Pretty fast, that bloke.
Yeah, pretty fast.
Pro Wrestling Australia is back in the heart of the Sydney CBD. Live June 14th at the Metro Theatre with the return of the King of the Metro 30-person Rumble match. Get your tickets now at Ticketek.
You know what time it is now, don't you?
No, but I'm really looking forward to it.
My friend, it is turnbuckle time.
Oh, beautiful.
Get up there on that top rope, Aaron Payne, all right? We're going to throw you. Here we go. And now listen, if you know the answer to these questions, you guys in the crowd, just keep it to yourself for now, okay? To show a little bit of discipline. Righto. Now you're against the clock. Can you see the clock up there? Okay. So there's 6 questions worth 4 points each. 6 times 4 is?
6 4s, 24.
Thank you.
So how do they get 25?
There's a bonus point.
Okay.
Bonus question. So your max score is 25, all right?
Roger.
Now they haven't got 25. Jolly Kane thinks he's got 25.
Okay. But he didn't get the bonus point, obviously.
Scando did pretty well. Who was No, we gave him a question. We gave him an answer, and there's been some people online have been in touch with us saying it's, you know, you got to read the T and the small print. It's illegal what you've done with Joel Kane.
Roger.
So it'll probably be upheld on
Mhm.
appeal. Anyway, okay, let's go. Question 1, all right? Last week's episode of Behind the Roar was episode number what?
49.
Very good.
Come on, crowd, get excited.
Hey! Okay, you got 4 points in the bag. Well done.
Off the
Your
netting.
NRL, here you go, your NRL debut, round 12, 2002, as we said, is against the Dragons at Dairy Farmers, okay? You won the match.
Yep. You're going to ask me for the
What
score, aren't you?
was the score? You beat the Dragons,
Let's
Dairy
go.
Farmers.
It was a round.
I don't need a round, my friend. I need
No, I
the
don't know the score, but I'll
You
go.
don't?
I'll go for a guess. I'll go.
Okay, I'll help you.
Yep.
I'll help you. I'll give you what you scored, your team,
Yep.
and you have to give me
Okay.
what the Dragons scored. Is that fair?
Yeah.
You
Yeah. All
scored.
the crowd are shaking.
Yeah, yep.
their
You're
heads,
good.
yeah.
40 points.
We got 40. Okay, I didn't think
Mhm.
we got that many. They would not. In the end, they scored a couple of late tries when I was on. So let's go 32. 40-32.
Yes, correct.
There we go. There we go. I told you the game was never in doubt, and then I came on and they scored a couple of quick ones.
8 points.
Yeah.
Go, cricket, clock against the clock. 2005 grand final, okay? As I said, you're up against Robbie Farah. I
Yep.
said you locked horns with him. You didn't lock horns. I mean, you packed down against Robbie Farah. The Cowboys, we know the score. You lost, didn't you? Yeah, 30 points to 16 you lost.
Roger.
Yep, Roger. I think it was a Roger playing on either side, but got you there, 30-16. What was the halftime score?
Oh, I know. I'm pretty confident we were still behind. So let's go. I'm going to guess and say 16-10.
Eh. 12-6, we were up.
12-6. Oh, it's close.
Yeah, but close ain't good enough, my friend. You're on 8 out of a possible 12. Question 4. Okay. You ready? Can you name the 3 current NRL coaches who have played for West's Tigers? A clue. Do you want a clue? Do you need a clue?
Let's go.
2 of them played in
Well,
that.
Benji, obviously.
There's one.
Oh, I'm glad I got that one.
One other's pretty close to home too.
NRL coaches. You're not talking about stuff. You're talking about actual head coaches.
Current head coaches.
What about Cleary? Was he only a coach here?
No. Got to have played for West Tigers.
Okay.
Come on, think home.
Todd Payton.
Okay, there's
Yeah, there's
2.
2.
There's
Yeah, we're
2.
getting
He's getting close.
We're getting there.
You need one more. He's
Um,
on 8 points. Is he on 8 points? 8 out of 12. Yeah. Okay. Tick tock. Come on, clock's going. You mightn't get this.
I don't think
beat.
I'm going to get it.
No, you beat Roosters coach
Yeah, right.
Trent Robinson.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Not many did. He
How
played
many games did he play?
2.
Okay.
I think he made
That's
his
why a lot of
NRL
people wouldn't know
debut
that.
with West Tigers
Yep.
in 2000. Played another game for West Tigers in 01. And then played one game for Para the year later. There you go. All right, you're still on 8 points, my friend. You're not going to win the car, but there might be some consolation prizes.
Yeah.
Yes. And you can get them on the way out. Just don't let the door hit you, okay? Now, which West Tigers player is due to play his 150th NRL game against your former club in round 12?
Alex Twal, maybe? No.
You're not far off.
No, around that era.
Yeah, well, he's a forward.
Yeah.
Middle forward this weekend.
Okay, ice.
Yeah, ice.
I'm getting sick of that noise.
It's great, isn't it? Wow, I love it. Okay, question 6. Who am I? I play
Chris
for...
Warren.
Oh,
Sorry,
jeez.
dad joke.
This is a bad one. Who am I? I play for West Tigers in an NRL team. I wear a bit of bling. I have my own clothing label. I was born in New Zealand.
Current?
I play for West Tigers NRL team. You listening?
Yeah, I thought you said played.
Sorry.
Not
Okay,
playing,
yeah, I'll take
currently
that back.
playing.
I play.
Yeah.
I wear a bit of bling.
Not Api.
Well, you see,
Because
Api plays for an NRL team. He wears a bit of bling. I don't know if Api's got his own clothing label. He might, or he might nearly soon.
Yeah.
No, wrong.
Sorry.
Did you not watch last week's episode?
I haven't been given
did you watch last week's episode?
A taste test of the product, unfortunately.
The clothing?
Yeah.
You'll need to talk to Fanua Bolle.
Oh, okay. There you go.
What's it called? Oh, jinx. What's it called? Live yours.
Live yours.
Live yours. Not up yours. Live yours.
All right, I'll have to see him about some of his range.
Yeah, well, he's going to give me some soon.
Okay.
Yeah, we gave him a huge plug last week, and
Still waiting for the gear?
Yeah, but orders have. There's been a spike in orders.
Oh, okay.
Online. Yeah, he can't keep up with the demand after
right.
appearing on Behind the Raw. Well, there it is. Mate. I've got one more bonus point. You're only on. Is he on 8? Pretty piss poor effort.
Give me some easier questions. We had a lot of head knocks,
a couple of tricks. Can you tell us? All right, you've mentioned this guy's name a couple of times.
Yep.
Oh, there's a clue. Can you tell us who our very first guest was on the first episode of Behind the Raw? This is episode 50. Our guest on episode 1.
It'd have to be one of the club greats, wouldn't it?
Probably.
In the current coaching staff, probably.
Do you want me to give it away? Probably, yes.
Okay. Well, it's either Benji Marshall or our man Farah.
So what's your answer? 8 points.
Benji. Robbie Farah.
I keep asking Benj. I can't get Benj. I can't
Really?
No. I don't know. We'll get Benj on here. So. As thanks for jumping on, mate. Appreciate it. That was great to get to know you and had a bit of fun along the way. They were a bit difficult, those questions.
Yeah.
Good luck this weekend, though, hey? And for the rest of the season.
Thanks, mate.
Keep up the good work with the Magpies in the New South Wales Cup.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
There is Aaron Payne. He's doing a great job there with the Maggies in the New South Wales Cup. Get out to Lidcombe Oval if you can on Sunday. We're up against Newcastle Knights. Midday kickoff for the flag, and then the New South Wales Cup kicks off at 2:00. And, of course, our NRL team, a 3:00 kickoff at Scully Park in Tamworth against Newcastle Knights. Best of luck to you boys as well. Again, to all of our viewers, our subscribers, our listeners, thanks so much for your support. The numbers are going from strength to strength. And again, thanks to our sponsor, Pro Wrestling Australia. We've been around now for 50 episodes, and here's to about 150 more. We'll see you again next week.
Behind the Raw, the official podcast of West Tigers.